It's time to pause for peace with me, Pastor Jule. Welcome. Just this week, I was reading a portion from the canonical Bible, the Gospel of Mark, in the translation called the Common English Bible. And I actually was shocked by a phrase that caused me to stop and reflect on a little something. The situation was such that Jesus was healing somebody. He was bringing wholeness. He was ensuring the well-being of a human person. And there were those surrounding him who were very much not happy. In fact, they were calling him out for the episode. And Jesus found himself suddenly in this situation where not only could he teach, but he also found himself in this situation of being absolutely amazed at how closed these people were being to the needs of this brother. The situation was such that Jesus healed a man and was called out for violating the Sabbath. I love Sabbath. Don't hear me wrong on this whatsoever. I believe that God has given Sabbath a pause for all of us to take from the consumptive, productive, rat race ways that we live, for some of us, too close to 24/7. There's a reason we are called to rest. Rest restores us. Rest refreshes us. But even more so, in a culture of commodification, resting from work, from producing, from doing, reminds us that we are not God. We're the creatures, and we are created to delight, to take joy along with all creation. This is what we are to be about when we take a pause, when we rest, when we adhere to the command of Sabbath. Jesus was trying to teach us, however, that we were not made for the Sabbath. Sabbath was made for us. Sabbath is a gift from God to us. And so Jesus is healing because he sees the need of this person. And in that moment he sees the need of this person, his own heart is churned up with compassion. He wants and wills the best for this human being. And his heart is going forth to him, this sacred heart of Jesus, this heart that beats with love and mercy and grace and harmony and full acceptance, and that is expected to be in the center of our own chests, beating with love and grace and harmony and forgiveness and peace and compassion. The phrase that I read in the canonical Gospel of Mark, chapter 2, according to the Common English Bible, is that Jesus looks upon folks and sees their unyielding hearts. Unyielding hearts. Reminds me, in fact, of one of the accusations that is made often in the First Testament when the people are called by God stiff-necked people. There is a way in which we were created to melt into love, to be released into compassion, to allow our insides to guide our actions. When our insides are coming forth from that deepest place of our heart, the place where our soul wells up, that aspect of God living in us, to be about the good for all. This is the way we have been made. And myself included, I know so many of us can close up our hearts, can keep them tightly guarded, can stop the flow of mercy from coming through our beings to the world. If we can remember that Jesus is calling out unyielding hearts, perhaps we can begin to live a little bit more courageously and compassionately every day of our lives. I'm inspired by the mystics, the saints, Christian and friends of every understanding of the world who actually live out of love and who allow the vessel of their being to be a place for love to flow. I am always inspired by the way that transfers into daily living. And I hope that we can keep in mind that being a person with an unyielding heart is actually something that angers the divine. We can have it all figured out in our head, but if we don't have it right in our heart, if our heart is so blocked from other human beings, we're totally missing what this beautiful master teacher Jesus is among us to teach us. One practice that really helps me with the times when my own heart is unyielding is the practice of heart-centered meditation. It's not a new practice if you've been a follower of Pause for Peace, and it is a practice that has been inspired for me by my uncovering of the role of Mary the Magdalene, who was able to hold space for her beloved and who never broke connection with her love, even as he is being put to death on a cross. The Magdalene is there, waiting, watching, holding space for her love who is dying. This is the work of a heart that is open and willing to flow for compassion and mercy and grace to be embodied in this world. So I invite us today to pause for peace with a few moments of a heart-centered meditative practice. And if you will, get yourself comfortable. This is actually a practice that is well done when you are sitting, or you can be lying in the bed or on the ground or on a yoga mat if that is your preference. But if you're sitting either on a meditation cushion or comfortably in a chair, it works as well. And it helps. I really feel like the heart-centered meditative practice helps when the palms of our hands are warmed up a little bit by rubbing them together, palms together, and placing those palms on the center of our chest. Energetically, I've already told you in Pause for Peace, energetically, our heart space is in the center of our chest, and it is the energy of forgiveness and compassion and innate harmony and full acceptance. And in a few moments, let's do all we can to take stock of what's going on in our heart space. So if you will, close your eyes. This is not a good time in the podcast to be driving, so close your eyes wherever you are in a safe time and place to do so. And take a few deep breaths. And if you can start to focus in on your hands, the palms placed on the center of your chest. I wonder if you might notice what it feels like in the area of your heart space. Perhaps externally, as your hands feel that area of your heart space. In fact, it might even be helpful to move your hands about an inch or so away from your heart space and notice if your heart space might feel like there's a block there, or might feel like there's something radiating forth from it. Or maybe it feels very warm or very cold. Our intention in this practice, as we enter into our heart space, is that we are people with hearts that are yielding, with hearts that are ready to feel compassion and to be filled with grace. With hearts that are calmed into harmony and able to truly be at peace. And so if you will, place your palm directly on your skin of your heart space once again, either through your shirt or under your shirt, whichever works well for you. And truly feel internally what is taking place in your heart. Be sure you are breathing in and out. And if there's a constriction or a pain that is arising in your heart, then breathe into it. A disturbance arising in your heart, breathe into it. And just blow it right out as you release it. Perhaps in this heart-centered position, you are noticing colors in your heart. Or there are images that are arising from your heart. Make note of those now. asking your heart, what color are you? What image do you want me to see? Make note of what is taking place in your heart, especially if you find that images of a loved one might be appearing, faces of those you have lost through heartbreak or separation or death. If you find yourself turning to sadness or anger or pain, if any of those are arising in your heart space, take a deep breath. And when you breathe out, pray that those calm. And when you breathe in, ask for pure love to meet you in your heart space. And perhaps take another deep breath, praying for courage. Courage to face whatever is arising, knowing it is coming for your healing. If it has been there hiding in your heart space, blocking the flow of love, it is time for God to bring healing to it. Pray for a yielding heart. Ask for a heart that beats the steady pulse of compassion. Wonder how your own heart has gotten so tied up in knots that anything would disturb you, that anything would take you from peace. Perhaps you even want to imagine Jesus, the embodiment of pure love, to enter the space of your broken heart, to mend it for the well-being of all of humankind, and for the ease of your own journey. Make note if there is excitement or joy or happiness arising in your heart. Maybe even meet your heart space with gratitude. This amazing organ of spiritual perception that is with each one of us to guide us safely home into being who God would have us to be each day. All this we receive when we turn with tenderness to our heart space and pray that our own hearts will be yielding to the needs of all creation. Let's take one more deep breath. Hold it for just a moment before you release slowly. And I invite you now to remove your hands from the center of your chest and just gently place your hands in your lap. Maybe even palms upward in this open position, ready to receive a gift. And then if you will turn them and place them palms down on your knees. Give your knees a little pat or two to bring awareness to your knees, to your ankles, to your feet, to the ground under you. Take one more deep breath, if you will, and release it slowly. And before we open our eyes, let us set the intention that we will go forth into this week being a people with yielded hearts, open hearts, overflowingly compassionate hearts for the sake of all the world. And when you are ready, I invite you to open your eyes and to notice how we can see through the open-hearted, yielding heart of great compassion. Thank you for pausing for peace today, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Blessings.